It's the fifth straight week that the S&P has ended the week higher, fueled by strong economic growth. There's also a better than expected earnings season. Let's get right to Mike Santoli at the New York Stock Exchange. Mike, we're so glad to have you. Put it in super plain English, right? Because we say it all the time. The markets are not the economy, but this is still a good signal about where the economy may be headed. Fair?
Fair, for sure, Hallie. I mean, look, the market does run at least in parallel to the economy directionally. Yeah. And yes, a better than expected U.S. economic growth, both in the latter part of last year and continuing into the first weeks of this year, combined with the fact that inflation has come down steadily enough and down to a point where the Federal Reserve has said its next move is to probably cut rates in the coming months. That has all cheered Wall Street. Yes, corporate profits have also started to grow again. They actually had dipped into the middle part of last year. So that together, I would say, with just a really impressive amount of excitement, maybe exuberance over AI and investments related to it, that really seems to be one of the sources of upside energy as well.
Okay, so what does this mean for inflation, which is something else we talk about a lot here, right? This question of what's the Fed going to do on interest rates, et cetera. Help us understand the tea leaves on that.
Well, first of all, the recent trend in inflation has been very encouraging. If you look over the last 6 months, the key inflation gauge that the Federal Reserve looks at has basically been around its long-term target of 2%. Now, the headline number, the CPI, it's going to get reported next week for January, so we're going to get an update on this. It's in the zone of the target. Let's say it's around 3%. So all of that solidifies the idea that we had this huge inflation scare. Interest rates went up a lot. The economy seemed to have a little bit of a stall for a brief period of time, but not for long. And that has combined, along with supply chains clearing, to bring inflation down to levels that are no longer alarming. Now, whether it persists and whether the Fed can say, yeah, we did our job and we're going to lower rates, that remains to be seen. But pretty much everything that's happened since let's say the later part of last summer has definitely fit into the idea that inflation is more benign.
That's super interesting. Okay, Mike, so then what is the vibe check where you are at the stock exchange? Are people feeling pretty good?
Yes, they are. I mean, I have to say, there's been this overlay of skepticism. It seems as if the market's come a long way in a short period of time, and it has. It's up 22% since late October. It's been on a massive run, and people do think some of those tech stocks are acting a little bit overheated, and plausibly so. Maybe you can expect some kind of a pullback. But in general, it's a bull market. People are starting to participate in it. We'll see if it has much more to run from.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.